Happy Sunday, happy July, and welcome to the Happy Chaos Project. It's been a few weeks since I've posted an episode because I've had to start some new treatments that have taken us out of town a lot, which has also meant a lot of driving that has taken up a lot of our time. And also, it's the middle of summer here, which means it's getting a little bit hot, and I do like to stay indoors when it's hot, especially since as I've said multiple times, because it is so hard on us here in the Pacific Northwest, we don't have air conditioning. So anything I can do to keep cool during the summer, um, including staying indoors, is a good way to go. But thankfully, going out of town a lot to different towns means there's more variety of stores that we get to explore in those new towns for vintage and thrift shopping. One of my new medical specialists is in Puyallup, Washington. So Ryan and I have been driving there back and forth quite a lot over the last few weeks. Ryan and I actually used to live in Puyallup for a short amount of time. It's an interesting city because it's really more of a suburb city that is focused on the state fairgrounds. That's where they have the state fair. So it's not, you don't find your typical things that you find in a city, and the traffic has actually gotten worse over the past few years. So driving, for instance, from north to south in Puyallup can take quite a bit of time. But it does offer some really good vintage and thrift options. Puyallup really isn't a destination town, so if you're wanting to come up here to shop the vintage and thrift, and maybe you're going to stay overnight, I recommend staying in maybe Tacoma because you'll be close to the water and you can see the Puget Sound area and the parks, and there's a wider variety of restaurants available for all different tastes. Since the last episode, I have been looking for wood hoop earrings, and Ryan was looking for hot air balloons, and the scavenger hunt item for the week was stickers. Although I did find a few pairs of earrings, I totally struck out on the wood hoop earrings so far. But we totally scored on the hot air balloons and the stickers. So we went back to the local toy store here that we always have a lot of fun in to see what new stuff they had, but also because this week's challenge was stickers. And I knew if anyone had stickers, they probably would. And also, they have a constant turnover of their items they have for sale. So I figured we'd looked at their stickers before. They probably have something new and fun. And here is what I got. First is this frog set of stickers that were just too cute, and some sea animals. Look at that turtle, he's so cute. I just thought these were all so cute. And cows, oh my goodness, adorable, adorable, adorable cows. I can't wait to use these. And then also the person who worked there showed me this sticker book that I can put stickers in. I have a large collection of Dutch Brothers stickers. Every time, we go to Dutch Brothers all the time, so we regularly get stickers when they have those available. But also one year for my birthday, I was given a large collection of Dutch Brothers stickers. So I'm going to actually use this blank sticker book to add all my Dutch Brothers stickers to. And the cool thing is, if you stick the stickers in here, if you want to reuse the stickers somewhere else, they will peel off. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely a good score for stickers this week. I'm going to walk you through several of the vintage and thrift stores in Puyallup, one of which is now my absolute favorite, number one vintage store of all of the stores in Washington that we have been to so far. And I'm going to give you a shopability score for each of the stores. For me, half the fun of shopping for vintage and thrift is being able to navigate the store easily and to see what they have on for sale. If I have to dig under a huge pile, squeeze myself into tight spaces, or worry that at any second I'm going to break something, this is more stressful than fun, at least for me. And I have to give kudos to all the store owners, store managers, and booth vendors who make their booths, a very enjoyable experience instead of chaos. I started giving stores a shopability score of 1 to 5 based on these questions. Can we get around in the store? Can we get into the booths? Some booths are so cram-packed from one square of the store, the booth to another square of the booth. You can't even step into the booth. You can't shop the items that are on the shelf. So that makes it very difficult to shop. Do the store owners and vendors present their awesome stuff in a way that makes me want to spend time looking at it? Is it safe to shop the store? Meaning safe for the shopper? Sometimes the stores are so packed, it is honestly not safe for the shopper, but also safe for the items not being at risk for getting broken. There are times where the shelves have shaken when I try to reach in and look at something. And as you saw from Thriftypalooza, I did actually break an item when I was looking on the shelves. So that makes it a little more stressful if you're worried that at any second you're going to break the items that you're looking at. I'm going to show you around my very favorite vintage store last. I'm saving the best for last, so hang in there until the end. Okay, number one of the thrift and vintage stores is the North Puyallup Goodwill and the North Puyallup Habitat for Humanity. Both of these stores get a 5 out of 5 shopability score. Their layout and prices are typical of Goodwills and Habitat for Humanities that you might find pretty much anywhere else. And number two, Deseret Industry Thrift Stores in South Hill, Puyallup. I actually just discovered that I've been saying this name wrong for years. I've always pronounced it Deseret because I'm trained in French and the ET at the end is supposed to be pronounced A, but it's actually Deseret. Um, and this may be the only Deseret store in Pierce County, Washington. This is the first time I've seen one outside of the Seattle area. So it was interesting to get to see one again. If you are looking for good prices on household items, furniture, clothing, whatever, this is the place for you, definitely. I could not video while I was in the store because it was absolutely jam-packed with people. And after I started seeing some of the prices on the items, I absolutely understood why the store was completely packed. The prices are absolutely amazing. And I have to say thank you to Deseret for keeping the prices low to help people in the community to help make ends meet. That is why people go to thrift stores to buy household items, buy clothing for their family, so that they can spend less on those items and have more money for essentials like food. So thank you, Deseret, for doing that. They get a 5 out of 5 shopability score. Their store is very nicely spread out, laid out. They have a section in the back, so don't forget to go all the way to the back of the store because they have a separate section where all the furniture and the artwork and the like outdoor items are in a. You have to go through a doorway in the back. And looking at the clothing was absolutely fun and amazing because they organize all of their clothing by color. So if you're looking for a green shirt, you just go to the ladies section, ladies tops, and look for the green section, and there you are. So it was so much fun being able to just look for the specific colors I like to wear. As you notice, I wear fall colors, so I was able to skip all the pinks and go straight to the greens. So a lot of fun at Deseret. Deseret, see, I just pronounced it wrong again. Just as a side note, this store is very, very south in Puyallup. It's actually in what they call South Hill. So if you're driving from North Puyallup down to Deseret, it's going to be quite a little bit of drive. And it's off of Meridian, and that is one of the most clogged thoroughfare streets in Puyallup. So expect to have a little bit of drive. Okay, number 3 on the list is Goodwill in Puyallup, and it's the South Hill area where it's a little bit south of the Puyallup Mall. just finished in the South Hill Puyallup Goodwill. It's a pretty small one. Didn't find anything for resale, but did pick up the gnome because I just had to have it. This store is a little bit smaller, but they get a shopability score of only 4 out of 5 because the minute you walk in, they have this huge tower of display, very, very tall display racks, like 10 feet tall. They have several in a row down the main aisle. So the minute you step into the store, all you can see is this wall of tower racks. You can't see beyond them to look at the remainder of the store. Let's say you're wanting to go to housewares. Usually when you step into a Goodwill, they have signs along the wall that show you like housewares, clothing, linens, etc. And you can't see that because these huge racks are right there in front of you, obscuring your view. And that was actually a stressful experience for me to walk into a store and not know where to go. You had to walk down the aisle tightly next to these really tall racks, get past them before you could even look at the remainder of the store. All right, next, number 4 on the list is Schoolie Thrift in Puyallup. This is actually a brand new store at a brand new location. It's much smaller than the Schoolie Thrift that we experienced in Olympia, Washington. The one in Olympia is a huge warehouse, and the one here in Puyallup is more of a boutique size store. Some of their items were overly curated. They had some really high prices, but they also had some good deals. And they also have their pricing like at the other Schoolie, where the clothing is very fairly priced, where all women's tops, for example, are one price, which I think is a very fair way to price clothing, unlike some other thrift stores where they think, oh, this is a name brand, so we're going to charge like 10, 12, 15, $20 for this shirt. Whereas at Schoolie, they charge one price for all tops, regardless of brand. So that is nice. Hopefully, once this new store gets their feet under them, they'll get their pricing to be a little bit more consistent. There's one step up into the store. Because it's fairly small store, the aisles are very narrow, but they keep their aisles clear. So I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5 on their shopability. Number 5 in Puyallup is Pioneer Antique Mall. After reading reviews in this store, I learned that there's apparently an upstairs to this store. When we were inside the store, we did not see any stairs to a second story. But I wonder if the store used to be an antique mall and has changed, because I've also seen it called Pioneer Antiques and Accrete Lighting, which that seems to reflect the store that we walked into. But I don't know. Check and see if there's a second floor when you go in. They have a small selection of a variety of antique items, but what we found interesting and exciting is in the back, there is a whole section of antique and vintage lamp parts. So if you're looking for any kind of part to any kind of lamp, definitely check them out to see if they have what you're looking for. We just happened to be looking for a vintage finial for one of the lamps that I had purchased, so it was a perfect place to be at that moment, and I scored a finial that we thought was great for the lamp that we had, and it was only $3, so it was a great purchase. Unfortunately, the part of the store with all the lamp parts was totally inaccessible. They had like a bunch of furniture in the middle of the section, so it was really hard to get around in there. So that's going to bring their score down to 4 out of 5 because you can't access the entirety of the store. Also, call the store ahead of time for hours, because reading reviews, I see that there's a variety of people who are saying that the hours have been inconsistent. They show up and the store is not open. So make sure to check ahead of time before you go in. 6 on the list is called Victoria Sells Antiques. This is a two-story antique mall full of vendor booths. It leans more towards cottagecore, Americana, and antiques, which aren't necessarily my favorite aesthetics, but there was so much variety in this store that there were many interesting things to look at, and we actually walked the entirety of the first floor and really enjoyed it. This store is spacious and well laid out. None of the booths were cramped or crowded. Kudos to the store for that. Made it so much easier to shop every and look at every single booth without fail. We didn't have to skip any. There's only street parking, so you may have to park a little ways away if there's nothing up front close to the front of the store, and you may have to walk a little bit. There is, I think I already just mentioned, there's a second floor to the store, which we weren't able to get up to because it's only accessible by stores. Sorry, it's only accessible by stairs. This store gets a 4 out of 5 shopability score. And not last but not least is my very favorite store. I am in love with this store. It's now my favorite vintage store in all of Washington that I have been to so far, and that is 3rd Street Antiques. I don't know. They look like they're a little, I don't know, freaked out, constipated. So when we went to Puyallup, we spent the majority of our time at 3rd Street Antiques. And there was one booth that had 75% off everything. So Ryan and I spent a lot of time at the booth seeing if there were some good deals that we could find. And there were several things that we picked up that were 75% off. So I got this set of 5 vintage glasses. I think they were $22, but all the prices I'm about to tell you are 75% off those prices. And then there was this one that was a different shape that was $8. And then this plate with daisies, which is a Mataheda design. Oh, it's from Italy. And this plate was $12, 75% off. And then these 2 salt and pepper shakers. Remember when I was looking for unusual animals? This definitely falls in the unusual animals categories. I believe they're supposed to be rams, but they look like female rams. And am I right in saying that rams are all male? Anyway, I absolutely loved the green, the kind of 1960s, 1970s bright green of these salt and pepper shakers, and these were $10. And then this set of 2 vintage glass candle holders, and I think they were either $22 or $24. This serving set, this is for salt and pepper and vinegar and oil. It's very old and very unique. It was originally $85, and even though it has some chipping along the sides, I felt like at 75% off of $85, this was a really good deal. I absolutely love the amber glass. And I love how old this is. We're going to do a little bit of cleanup, see if we can make that cleanup just a little bit better. And then got this picture, which was Franciscan earthenware. I absolutely love the green and white on this. I don't remember how much I paid for it. It was probably about $12 at 75% off. And then, of course, I'm going to stop apologizing for my love of owls because I just love them, love them, love them. And I saw this owl. He just looks so ornery. This one was $15. This was not in the 75% off booth. And this is actually a decanter. I think this was made in New York and absolutely love this. So those were all the things that we got at the 3rd Street Antiques a couple days ago. This is my favorite store because they have a wide variety of vintage and antique styles and a wide variety of prices. And I love when stores have a wide variety of prices because no matter who you are coming into the store, why you're coming in to shop, there's something that you can purchase while you're in the store. It's very frustrating when you go into an antiques vintage store and all the prices are so high you end up walking out because there was nothing that was within your budget. They also have front door parking and very friendly staff, which makes it even more enjoyable to shop. We had such a great time looking at every single booth. The store is extremely well laid out. It's easy to get into all the booths and look at everything. We've been there twice already and still haven't seen the whole store. This is the store where I got my hanging blue owls. Every time I pass by these owls in my house, I put them on the wall. So when I come out of my bedroom, the first thing I see is the owls on the wall. They just bring me so much joy. Ryan was skeptical when I purchased these owls, but the minute I saw them hanging on the front door of Third Street Antiques, I said I have to have those owls. I don't know why, but I can tell that they light up my life and bring me joy. So I purchased them, brought them home, and put them on the wall, and I have not regretted it for a single moment. So thank you, Third Street Antiques, for having something that just makes me smile every single day. Third Street Antiques has a second floor, also full of vintage, that is accessible by kind of a steep ramp or stairs. Stairs are very hard for me, but because I love this store so much, the next time we go in, I think I'm going to either brave the ramp or the stairs and make it up to the second floor to see what else they have up there. Also, to know the ramp has shelves along the entirety of the ramp, also full of vintage. So you might want to check out the ramp and see what they have in those shelves going upstairs. If you're looking for record albums, they also have an entire section towards the back that is full of nothing but record albums. I desperately want to give this store a 5 out of 5 because it's my absolute favorite store in the entire world, but the ramp is really steep, making it really not accessible to people who struggle with stairs. And of course, the second floor is inaccessible except by stairs. So I'm going to have to give it a 4 out of 5, maybe a 4.5 out of 5, which goes up to a 5, rounds up to a 5. I don't know. I love this store a lot. If you're looking for a vintage store where you can spend several pleasurable hours, this store is definitely for you. I'm happy to say that all the stores we experienced in Puyallup were a nice experience. We had a good time. On the whole, a good time in Puyallup. However, it's unfortunate that there used to be more thrift and antique stores in Puyallup, and I know that because I picked up this leaflet called Antiques Walking Map at one of the antique stores, and unfortunately, if you see through those black lines, a lot of things have been crossed off since they first made this map. So at least half a dozen of the stores that they used to have are no longer in business. Hopefully in the future, they'll consider adding more stores. Also, if you're coming to Puyallup and you like old houses, you may want to consider the Meeker Historical Museum, which is this house here. Also, in addition to Thriftapalooza that just happened in June in Puyallup, because they have the state fairgrounds there in Puyallup, it's a perfect place to have events. They also have an upcoming event called the Great Junk Hunt, November 20th and 21st. And this is interesting because it actually starts at 4 p.m. on a Friday instead of a Saturday morning like a lot of events. So that may be more enjoyable for you if you want to go from evening to evening. And you can Google that event to check it out and see if it might be something that you're able to come to. Since we're in the middle of summer and things are heating up, we're definitely staying close to home, as I've mentioned before. We're not taking trips to Oregon right now or outside the Western Washington area. But I just discovered recently, thanks to watching Laura Caldwell, who has a YouTube channel, that there is an entire section of antique stores here in Tacoma, Washington that I didn't even know about. When I tried looking, for instance, on Google, asking for a list of all the thrift and antique stores, these stores did not show up. And I only learned about them because she went to them. They on one of her old episodes that I happened to watch, she came to Tacoma and she went to several of them. So Ryan and I went down there to kind of check out the area a little bit. We talked to one of the people in the stores, and they told us there's an entire section downstairs, kind of in a basement level of this building that we needed to go check out, but they usually are only open on weekends. So that is on our list of things to do is we're going to go check out this variety of vintage thrift. We're not exactly sure what we're going to find. It's definitely going to be unexpected. But that's going to be in an upcoming episode. How is your thrifting going? I'd sure love to hear about your favorite find. Please comment below and share that with us. I have to admit, I am so in love with my blue owls right now that I haven't had a favorite find to replace those for a couple weeks. And I want to stop right now and just say, as a reminder to myself and everybody else, this should be all about fun. And that's why I started the shopability score, because when Ryan and I go into stores, we want to have a pleasurable experience. We want to have fun. We want to feel young and experience the unexpected. And if there are stores that are difficult to shop, it kind of takes away from the fun for us. So when you're out thrifting and antiquing, I think it's important for you to find places that bring you joy. And it's possible that some of these stores that I'm giving low shoppability score because you have to pick through a lot of piles may be actually your favorite place because that is your happy place. So perhaps as I'm giving you a list of some of these stores, one of the ones that I don't find as much joy in will go at the top of your list so that you can go have fun at that place picking through the piles. I think it's also so much fun to have something specific to look for. That's how this all started for me. As I started scavenger hunt. I just picked a random item and went out and started looking for it because I was sick of having cancer and the doctor's telling me that I was supposed to be sick all the time. And I said, you know what? I actually want to have fun all the time and smile and have a good life. I don't want to be thinking how miserable I'm supposed to be. So I would pick an item and go out and start a scavenger hunt. And then we started through that thrifting and antiquing. But now that the newness of the antiquing and thrifting has started to wear off, I'm starting to get a little pickier about what I pick up. And I'm starting to learn more about how much items are worth because I'm now doing the resale business and I need to make sure that I am actually making a profit off of these items that I'm purchasing. There's quite a few items I now leave behind because I have to factor in the fees that I pay on Etsy or eBay, the shipping costs, and possibly shipping supplies. So here's your pro tip for the week from someone who can't really quite consider herself a pro yet. But unless you're going to sell in great quantity, which means selling all day long, every day, you need to make sure that every item that you purchase is going to give you a minimum amount of profit. This means buying items at a price that will give you a profit of at least $10 or wherever your minimum profit point is after you factor in costs and fees. Factor in those items in your head when you're looking at an item and considering how much profit that you can make. For instance, if you buy a $12 item and you know you can only make about $20 on that item and you offer free shipping and the shipping costs $9 and then you also have 20% in eBay or Etsy fees, as much as 20%, it's not always that high, you've now lost quite a bit of money on that item. I do have several regret purchases because I liked the item, but I wasn't realistic about how much profit I could actually make on the item. All right, so coming up this week, more fun. I am still looking for wood hoop earrings to go with my boho look since I was not able to find those in my last thrifting adventures. But my jewelry collection has dwindled so small for some reason over the past few years that I'm going to be happy with any jewelry that I find. I'm looking for bracelets and necklaces and earrings. I did pick up a couple pairs of earrings, I think, as I mentioned, during the last couple weeks, which is a win, but I'm still looking for those wood hoop earrings for sure, because those are my favorite. And this week, Ryan is going to be looking for dinosaurs. He said, Mom, maybe that's too easy. And I said, who cares if it's easy? It's all about having fun. So we're going to be looking for some fun dinosaurs. And if you need help starting your own scavenger hunt, here's an item to get you started for this week: socks. There are so many cool and fun socks out there these days. I can't wait to see what we find. Is there a thrift or a vintage store in Western Washington you'd like us to check out? Comment below and we'll add that to our itinerary for the next couple of months. Join us next episode when I'll show you some of our thrifting adventures in Tacoma, Washington. We'll be looking for some fun and unexpected finds inside, away from the sun. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get notifications of new episodes showing you our cool fun finds as well as the next scavenger hunt item. Until next week, keep on smiling and looking for happy in the middle of this chaos we call life.